So holy crap, I was wrong. I totally just the other day when they put out their regular trailer sizzle reel, I was like not that impressed. I wanted to I wanted to see more from the trailer that they showed us the other day, and I was like, man, I don't know, it just wasn't doing it for me. And now I get why, because now I understand that they saved all the sauce for this reveal. And boy, man, let me tell you, this is by far I was telling some people in my chat, I said, you know what it is? It's we forgot what a mill sim is supposed to look like, because Call of Duty for fucking years has been deviating further and further away from its roots. And now we've got like this wannabe Fortnite shit, and now seeing this reveal for Battlefield 6's multiplayer and even more than that, it's like, oh yeah, this is what a mill sim is supposed to look like. This is what it, and then them going back to the core, class system and all that. Like, so I'm going to play this in this footage and let it play. This was from the reveal earlier. I love the way the maps look. I thought the maps looked have a nice variety. They're gonna have you know what? Let me pull up some while we're kind of reacting and discussing this. I'm gonna pull up some official information so I'm not talking out of my ass here. So it says it's gonna release on October 10th, which is amazing. The beta is basically starting between now and like the weekend. There's going to be some people that will get some beta codes or whatever. There's been some beta codes, or was it like next weekend? They said. I'll have the info here in just a second. I bookmarked a bunch of it, but basically, yeah, the way the systems work and everything. We have. I'm gonna have to pull this up, this little list here, because man, there's so much. There's so much like news. Okay, here it is. Early access is August 7th and 8th. And then weekend 1 is August 9th through 10th. And weekend 2 is August 14th through August 17th. So if you get an early access, if you were part of the Battlefield Labs, you're already in there. You're going to get an early access code to start next weekend. And which is, and then I know they were handing some codes out and stuff. So hopefully we can get lucky and get one. But it is going to have open beta from August 9th to August 10th, and then weekend 2 will be August 14th, 17th. There are going to be there's going to be like 9 maps at launch or something, which is insane. They're going to have more than that later. They did have a small teaser trailer for the Battle Royale, which was pretty cool. What I really like, one of the things I really liked is this return to form on the classes. They really are leaning into the classes, old school style, and saying, if you want certain perks and certain weapons, you got to play certain classes, and they did confirm that at least at launch, you're not going to be able to mix and match weapons for classes. So, if you want whatever the engineer has, that's what you're going to have. That's the kit you're rolling with, and I welcome that personally. I know in the modern era, with shooters, especially like COD, like all this freedom of mixed match is just kind of run of the mill, but I'm kind of glad they're going back to this. I like the idea of having a conscious choice when you're playing on a team, So anyway, yeah, highlights for me, man, were like, obviously it's Battlefield. Obviously, you have shit blowing up literally everywhere. You got all the vehicles. They have seemingly a bunch of new vehicles, or some. I haven't played Battlefield in quite some time. Full disclosure, I played a little bit of 2042 or whatever, but I haven't touched it since it probably came out. And yeah, like you see different jets. You see there's four-wheelers or quads, if you want to call them that. There's this new mechanic for the movement where you can lean and lean while you're prone. Someone was saying you could like sprint while you're crouched. I don't know how that works. There is a new mechanic to mitigate fall damage or eliminate it completely, where if you jump off of something really high, you'll do a combat roll. And you probably saw it in some of the footage. but you do this combat roll like right here, bam, and then that saves you from fall damage. That's like actually freaking sick. It looks super cool. Man, what else? Geez, yeah, the maps look great. The combat and the camera when you're using the chopper gunner, it looks great. Tanks, you got the different classes that like specialize in either taking out vehicles, or if you want to be a recon spotter with a sniper and your spotter scopes to help missiles guide into the jets or vehicles or whatever. The support class, you got stims, you got just like, I really like this. Kind of actually makes me really excited to jump back in the Battlefield, not because it's like, I'm super nostalgic for like Battlefield 4, which Battlefield 4 was obviously amazing. It just seems like they're really taking it to the next level, more than I expected. It's weird because like seeing the sizzle reel initially, I was just not blown away. Like I was like, this isn't telling me what's new or why I should care. And again, I'll eat crow on that because now I understand that they were saving what mattered for this reveal. And dude, I'm telling you right now, like, this is probably the most excited I've been for a milsim game in a long time. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, when it came out, I played the beta. It was like I was super pumped. They had the Omni move, everything looked cool with Black Ops 6, and I was going to do zombies. And I played the beta, and I got all the rewards. And then when it came out, I started playing, and I was just like, this is it. I don't know, man. I lost it. It didn't hit. I didn't really care for the zombies. The multiplayer really didn't, even with the Omni movement, it just didn't feel exciting. It was more of the same. Sadly, I hate to say it, I'm not saying Black Ops 6 is a bad game, but it was just more of the same, And then you get all the crazy skins and shit, and Warzone is just a hot mess. Warzone's been a joke for a long time, and everyone got like super excited when Verdansk was coming back, and I'm like, this is how bad the industry's gotten, where we're getting excited for reskin content. That's how bad it is. Like, your best thing that you did with Warzone, Infinity Ward or whoever the fuck worked on it, was Verdansk. And bro, and I remember when they were bringing back Verdansk, and it was like, yo, dude, like everyone just forgot how much they hated Verdansk. Like at the end of Verdansk's cycle, like people were shitting all over that so bad. And it's like, a couple years later or whatever, we want to bring Verdansk back, and everyone's like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, that's what happens when your game is shit, and it's been shit for years. And, anyway, I digress. So here we are. Oh, and not to mention, Warzone gets, Warzone is Warzone, whatever. They did try DMZ, which was fine. I'm talking about COD. DMZ it had good bones, but they never really spent the money to flesh it out properly, which is sad. And they're riddled, Ricochet anti-cheat does not work. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And now, again, we have all these stupid skins. Like Call of Duty has the worst identity crisis ever. They're trying to be Fortnite with all these crazy ass skins. Seth Rogen, gay ass motherfucker, and then you have Beavis and Butthead, which like Ninja Turtles, Beavis and Butthead, or what? I can't even remember all the skins they put in this game. It's just like, it makes sense when you hear about it from Fortnite. Fortnite looks like a cartoon, right? Like, that's not a milsim. Even though it's a shooter, it's not a milsim. Call of Duty is a fucking milsim, and you're trying to turn it into Fortnite because you're greedy and you want money and people buy your stupid shit, and it is what it is. And it's like, and speaking of skins, I want to say I'm very happy and excited that the developers over at Battlefield 6 have said our microtransactions and our skins will be basically military style and modern. In other words, they're not going to be putting Beavis and fucking Butthead in Battlefield 6. Thank Christ. It's such a breath of fresh air. And not only that, Battlefield 6 is bringing the heat with the content, man. They're going to have like 9 maps at launch and like several different modes at launch, with more to come after that. They teased the Battle Royale, which is coming hopefully this year. They said soon after launch, but they didn't give a date, so we don't know, but they did tease it. I'm praying to Almighty, like, please, let's get the BR mode before the end of the year. So we'll see. I'll have to report back on that. But they're also doing this portal. They brought back the portal, which is kind of like Forge, but they're using the Godot engine. I don't know how you say it. And bro, I'm telling you, like, it looks incredible, man. So if you're somebody who likes building maps and creating and that kind of stuff, dude, I'm telling you right now, like, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what the community stuff is going to be, you know. Look, one of the best things about Halo back in the day was Forge. You know, that's some of the best maps ever created were by community members in Forge. I see no reason why that won't be the case with Battlefield 6, with, you know, their new portal and all the upgrades they've done with it using the Godot engine. And I'm like, man, so they're bringing the portal, they're bringing a shitload of maps at launch. They're working on the campaign. They said they're going to have more information on the campaign later. And then the BR mode, again, hopefully before the end of the year. And I got to tell you, man, I am just really kind of blown away at how this reveal event went. It was very entertaining. I was actually pleasantly surprised. And again, I think the biggest takeaway for me personally was, oh yeah, this is what a milsim is supposed to feel like. This is when I get excited about a new milsim game. This is what it feels like. We haven't felt that about Call of Duty for years, dude. Years. And people for years have been complaining about how stale it's gotten, how bad the performance has gotten, how uninteresting the maps have gotten, and how bad the cheating is and all this stuff. They're more worried about selling you Beavis and Butthead skins than making their product better and innovating, you know? And I'm like, and people say, well, what about Omni Movement? Fuck your Omni Movement. That's not innovation. You need more than that, you know? It's a milsim. So again, like for me, that's what I got from this. I was like, oh, this is what a milsim is supposed to be. You know, and again, with the maps and what they presented and the way it looks, it just looks like chaos, carnage, you know, just all of the above. It looks amazing. I, for the first time in years, am genuinely excited about a milsim game. I don't know that I want to pre-order it. I still have this, you know, PTSD with AAA games and pre-orders that we've just been bitten so many times by pre-ordering shit, and then it comes out and it's busted or whatever else. At the same time, I'm hyped enough about this to, I'll at least give them the benefit of the doubt that I'm sure the product will probably launch in a good state. It seems very polished. It seems like the teams working on this have been cooking this for a long time, and they've been doing the Battlefield labs, getting feedback and doing it the proper way. So, you know, I'm very optimistic. I probably still won't pre-order it. I'm, you know, and that's irregardless. You know, I'm excited to play it. I'm definitely going to be playing the open beta. If I can get a code for early access, great. We'll see. But otherwise, I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Are y'all excited about Battlefield 6? Because I sure as hell am. And I am so glad I was wrong. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.